Welcome to BumbleKast Q&A Live. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello. We're live. We're live on the YouTubes. Oh, man. We're doing it again. This time, maybe a little less insane, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out. I don't know. We already have like 50 questions just sitting here waiting for us to go. We're a little behind. Sorry about that. Sorry.
It's all my bad.
It's okay.
So quick thank yous to our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast and those who have supported this on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/BumbleKast. It is that sponsorship that is allowing us to do these monthly live sessions. Also, thank you for patron Jennifer R, who is helping to moderate the chat because God knows I'm not going to be able to keep up with it.
Yep. Jenny May is helping us out. So thank you to her.
Hello.
Yep. There she is.
You don't get to speak. We just get to thank you.
Ian says you don't get to speak. We just get to thank you. And now she's just giving her thumbs up.
We don't deserve you, Jen. Thank you.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Alrighty. Well, without further ado, we don't have any super chat questions yet, so let's go ahead and get started off with the first question. Let's not waste any time. So
great, because all questions are coming from the chat, and if you want to jump to the headline, send us a super question chat.
Super chat, yeah. Super chats will get bumped to the front priority. So, and but we're gonna still try and answer as many as we can. And super chats, we're gonna do we're gonna do them in kind of groups. So do a few, and then do at least one standard question, and then do a few more super chats, and then kind of just break it up so that way it's not we're not trying to favor super chats so much.
Right.
So, but yeah. So
let's do
let's do it with the first question from none other than Ink Pants regarding traveling home. What rank did Ian get after smashing his way through the streets on his boogie board?
What? I don't get the reference.
That's what you did, right? You smashed your way through on your boogie board. You were going through the streets on your boogie board. You were smashing your way through. And maybe it's like maybe you were on the door of a helicopter. You like busted out the door of a helicopter and landed in the streets and started surfing down the streets.
If you have seen any pictures of me or on like the Sonic Live channel streams, you know I am not a man who boogies. I saunter, possibly sway, but boogie? No. I do not boogie. I have not the rhythm to boogie.
Well, you know what a boogie board is, right?
Yes, I had one.
Okay, you just laid out on it. And
that's what I thought.
Yes.
Kyle, have you ever seen a man fail technically at a boogie board?
Yes, myself.
Yeah, okay, you're in good company then. I am not the boogie. I am not the boogie man.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you didn't get any rank then, I guess. You didn't even finish the level. Oh, well.
No. E rank, the orchestra is playing off key. Just kind of schlep off screen looking depressed.
At best. All right, well, here's a question from Wolfsbane. What's worse on a pizza, anchovies or pineapple?
I would say maybe the pineapple, because the anchovies are at least a hit of salt and maybe a bit of protein if they don't taste briny enough. Pineapple is always going to be that kind of acid wash your tongue. It overpowers every flavor.
Yeah, definitely pineapple for me. Don't want pineapple. No, never. Anchovies are fine, but pineapple, no. So, did you have anything else to add on that?
Nah.
No? Okay, cool.
No extra toppings.
Huh, nice. Because we had a super chat This one comes to us from Speedweed, aka Dr. Hacks 1488. Metroid Mega Man crossover. Would Wily totally try to replicate Samus's tech, or would he just try to make some sort of Samus woman?
I'm going to say that the Chozo tech is beyond Wily by a long stretch, and he would attempt to maybe try to replicate it and fail, and then in a huff make his own Samus woman.
Mm-hmm.
But she would not hold a candle to the original. What would be interesting, though, is that when his partnership with the Space Pirates ultimately goes really, really bad, and we've got some kind of horrible Gutsman Ridley combo attacking everything, and Samus is on the ropes, Mega Man's copy ability kicks in, and he basically gets her entire arsenal.
Yeah. Nice. Well, here's a question from Off. Okay, serious question this time. If you could bring back one and only one character from the old continuity to the IDW Sonic comics, who and why?
We talking pre-reboot or post-reboot?
I don't know.
Let's go post, just because that seems to be the safest territory as of late. And picking one, it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But I think the one that could stand alone would maybe be Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's tossing out the his Dark Arm buddies. What did I call the Wisps? The
Dark Wisps. I don't remember.
I can't remember. It's been so long now. Were they the Dark Arms? Yeah, because his Black Arms is the aliens, idiot. Yeah. So yeah, that's losing the Dark Arms, but that's okay because they were just kind of like minions. They weren't really characters. I miss Relic. She's fun compliment to Knuckles, but she's not as much of a story driver. I really miss the Ocean Crew that I developed with Leah Baker, but you can't really just take one of them. And
yeah,
the Egg Bosses were never meant to be, breakout standalone dudes. They all kind of were a unit. Good for a fight, good for a story arc, but they were not like quintessential.
Yeah.
Eclipse, I feel like he's the Liquid Snake to Shadow Solid Snake, and I had a lot of fun with him.
Nice. All right, we got another super chat question here. Thank you to Whisk Cheese. Any more info on the new characters, Surge and Kit?
Not yet. Yes, information has come out through various preview books, but they haven't been like formally announced by IDW. So I think the word is to just kind of be mum on it right now. Super excited by the initial feedback. Just the love that they're getting from everyone is really, really great to see. I'm a little surprised how much information has already been put out there, but I am glad that Kit's full name hasn't been revealed yet, because there is a bit of a joke in there that I'm rather proud of. So that's still a surprise.
All right.
Hopefully I'm looking forward to talking about them more. I'm very happy with all the feedback that's been coming in. But for now, I got to stay, hush hush. No, hashtag knowing smile and all that jazz.
Yes. We got another super chat question here from Blazing Andy 18. So Ian, my question is, if you can imagine a team up with any Sonic characters for the standard 3 people, what characters would you love to see?
Oh, just a rando mix and match?
I suppose. I don't know.
Let's see. Let's keep it to your power, speed, and fly, just to keep things simple. Oh, kind of spoiled for choice. That's trickier than you would think.
Yeah.
SBO, because he doesn't get enough love. He's kind of become second banana to Vector, which is weird.
Yeah.
Coming from my history with the series, but SBO, so he's your speed type. He's kind of straight laced, so he's a good straight man for everyone to foil against. Omega, because he has no chill. He is the complete antithesis to everything SBO stands for, so that will be hilarious. And Cream as the fly type, because her innocence in conjunction with the two of them will just make everything even more entertaining. That would be a fun trio to write. So yeah, there we go.
Nice. All right, and here's a question from Vlad C. What were Zor and Xena doing before Zik got to them in Zeti Hunt? Zaz and Zamam show that without leadership in the Zeti crumble. So how? What were what were they doing? Hiding? Fleeing?
Mostly Xena was being a pouty so-and-so, trying to remember that this is a family show for the most part. And Zor was being a creeper, and they were thinking of ways to get revenge themselves, to go out and be proactive. But then Zik showed up and said, hey, no, we need to go find Zavok and rally up. And they're like, yeah, all right, fine.
And here's another super chat from Dragon Ball Rama. How fast are Sonic's friends, really? It's been shown multiple times that Knuckles and Tails can keep up with him.
Like, gameplay wise, kind of depends on the game, but they're all fairly comparable.
Yeah.
Lore wise, they're fast enough to keep Sonic in their eye line, I would imagine. But if he really pours on the speed, they're lost in the dust.
Yeah. Yeah, you just kind of have to keep in mind the separation of gameplay mechanics from actual, lore reality. So, kind of weird that way, but here's another super chat from Sonic Toast. If Sonic Comics had straight to DVD animated movies like Marvel and DC have, which Archie and IDW story arcs would you like to see features of?
I always come back to the first arc we did in Sonic Universe with Shadow.
That's a Shadow one, yeah.
Specifically the episode where he goes after Gamma and Omega gets introduced. That was one of my favorite ones, and that one was very much written more or less to use the comic as a storyboard. But that one I could see very easily transferring over. Pretty much the entire IDW run. Each issue could work as an episode, and a lot of the arcs could work as a 60-90 minute animation with some tweaking. Honestly, it's been so long since I thought about the Archie stuff, it's hard to say off the top of my head.
Spark of Life would work pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe Knuckles Jack could work.
Yeah.
Energy Knuckles.
Energy Knuckles. Here's a question from Syed C. Thoughts on each form of Sonic? Super, Hyper, Dark Spine, Excalibur, Dark Super, Fleetway Super, Werehog, Ultra.
All the flavors of Sonic.
Delicious. Forgot about Blueberry.
Super Sonic, yeah, it's a Super Saiyan ripoff, but it's become so iconic of the series, and Dragon Ball's moved on so far from it. I think Sonic's almost kind of claimed it as his own.
Kinda, yeah.
Hyper, I would love to see return, but just like Dragon Ball, you run the risk of power creep. So if we see Hyper return, it needs to be for a special reason, and there needs to be a way to keep it from coming back a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be a special thing. Let's see, Dark Spine.
I don't even know what that is.
That was from Sonic and the Secret Rings. He gets
that explains it.
3, I think, of the story rings, and turns into this kind of purple form.
Interesting.
With racing stripes and fire powers. He basically becomes the villain of the story, more or less.
Huh.
Because Eraser Jin makes himself the story, so he's the hero of his own narrative, and Sonic is the one fighting him, so Sonic is the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets a kind of gravelly voice that kind of sounds like Jet the Hawk doing a bad Sonic impression. Which is Ryan Drummond, across the board, but he did what he could with it. And very waggly battle. It's an interesting design, but it's not my favorite, and it's locked specifically to the 7 world rings, so
yeah,
we're not going to see that again. And I'm going to Werehog. I distinctly remember we got a preview disc when we were doing the tie-in story that had a super high res file of the opening cinematic for Sonic Unleashed. And that opening bit where he's running through the Space Armada and then he turns super to bust out of Eggman's grip and he's knocking down bulkheads. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is it. This is the moment of Sonic. Oh yeah. And then he turns into the Werehog and I'm like, they had it. They were so close to having it right. What is this? But he grew on me. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the concept is kind of squandered since I get the idea that Sonic is so pure of heart, he could not be fully corrupted. And I appreciate that. But the gameplay has him acting completely differently. He's very wild. He's very feral and ferocious and rambunctious in a way that Sonic normally isn't, that doesn't show up in the story or the character. And I feel like all that gorgeous animation work just isn't utilized properly. The idea wasn't fully explored, and now it's moot because Dark Gaia is sealed away and you can't transform again. Blah.
Curses.
Uh Excalibur Sonic, I love it. It is fanficky as hell, and
Mm-hmm.
I adore it. What is the song? Against Me?
With
The
me, I think
With
is
Me. There we
yes.
go.
the,
The
the
exact opposite
opposite
of that.
against me. That's a different
Yeah,
thing.
original or Crush 40 version are both fantastic, and
Yep.
you're swinging the sword and you're fighting crazy demonic Merlina. It's great. It's great. It's great. It's dumb fun. Love it. But it's also tied to, the Caliburn and all that, so we're not going to see that again. But it was good for what it was. I dig
Yep.
it a lot. Dark Supersonic out of Sonic X, way overblown. It was there for 2 seconds. Folks need to let it go. The random candy colored stuff from pre reboot is not even worth mentioning, but I know someone will flag it saying Ian didn't mention it. Ultrasonic was weird, and I paid homage to it in that free comic book day, which is all it really deserved. And that's all I can immediately think of.
Alrighty then. Well, here's another super chat question, this time from Sonic Mania 2099. There better be a Sonic Mania in 2099. I'm waiting, Sega. Will I be around to see it? I don't freaking know, but hey, do it anyway. Do you think Sega will bring back respect for the Freedom Fighters, like have them in IDW comics or video games?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm still looking for the right opportunity to push to see them return. There's just a lot of wheels turning that other things have to come to fruition first. But I'm not giving up. I want to see it happen. Out of spite, if anything else.
But
Just to
also
say,
just to have them again, yes.
yeah. There's a number of ways to do it. I remember editor David Marriott actually had a really cool pitch for how to bring them into IDW Sonic, which I was like, okay, I kind of want to throw out all my ideas and do yours. But that depends on a lot of other things falling into place. So I don't know. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it on my end. IDW knows that they're desired. Um, some folks at Sega know about it. If you are contacting them, please be respectful and be reasonable in your requests. Do not email them once a day, once a week, once a month. Just fire off a nice email saying, "Hi, I'm so and so. I enjoy Sonic a lot. I would like to see the Freedom Fighters return in some capacity. Thank you." And leave it at that. If you are nasty and if you are overly persistent, you are going to poison the well. You are hurting things more than helping. So please be restrained and be respectful, but do let Sega know that you want to see them, and IDW too, because if IDW has enough on their side, they can say, hey, we're getting lots of requests. Can we do it on our end? So I know it's frustrating because you don't see the needle move at all. And I am not privy to all the discussions. So just keep at it, keep the faith. Eventually, it might happen. I hope so, and we'll see.
Yeah. Yep. Also, Ian, we might need to pick this up a little bit because we're nearing the 100 question mark.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Here's a question from super chat question from Kojiro B. How do you figure out what challenges to give the characters you write? General question, not restricted to Sonic.
Depends on the project and what I want to do with the story. If this is a short story, it needs to be a very simple kind of issue that can be resolved satisfactorily in a short amount of time. If it is a bigger, longer narrative, something more complex, something that can be nuanced, something that can be tackled at varying levels, either by the main protagonist or by the support cast, and go from there. It needs to be in theme. You don't want something too dark. You don't want something too light. It has to fit with the characters and the world that you're working with. And it has to be interesting. Like, sure, end of the world is always the easy one to fall back on, but why save the world? What is important about it? What are the obstacles in the way of the hero that makes that challenge interesting? It's kind of like the Superman problem. He can do anything. So why is anything a peril? And it's like, okay, what is in his way? What is stopping him from achieving the goal? Or what are other factors that are dividing his attention? What we know he can succeed, but what is getting in the way of slowing him down or keeping him in the dark about something? That kind of thing. How do you mix it up so that the viewer is engaged with what the hero has to achieve, and to what degree the hero is even aware of what they have to achieve? That's a very big question that we don't have a lot of time to go into. Next.
All right, here we go. Here's one from Mecha from the 80s. What happened to Elias and his family in the 30 years later story?
Because Sally was queen at that point. Shoot. I don't know. Maybe maybe he abdicated yet again and retired with his family somewhere. Well, yeah, let's give him a nice simple. Like, Sally was like, "Okay, I'm done with the adventuring thing. I'm ready to settle down and rule things. Elias, you've held the fort. Do you want to retire and enjoy your family?" And he was like, "Yeah, cool, sis." And so they parted on good terms, and Elias's family is kicking it in Feral Forest happily ever after.
Nice. Here's a question from Mephiles of Darkness. Would you be interested in bringing back Lumina Flowlight and Void from Sonic Shuffle at some point in the IDW comics?
Dude, they really should just kind of linger in obscurity, but I absolutely do. And I totally know how I want to tie it into Knights. I want to do a Sonic and Knights crossover, and it would be epic. And I don't have any idea when I'll get to pitch that, but I'd like to return to the imaginary world if we could at some point, but that's probably low priority.
All right, and here's a super chat question from PC the Unicorn. Team dynamic of Styx, SBO, and Proto Man?
SBO and Proto Man are having a hard time tolerating all of Styx's antics, except eventually SBO lets his hand slip, and he's not nearly as cool and composed as he thinks he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, oh god, there's two of them. But then he and SBO do something totally badass together to take down a boss robot, and you're like, yeah, these are cool. I like these guys.
Yep. Here's another one from Syed C. What would your idea be for a Sonic movie, and how would you write it?
Back before the actual movie came out, I thought Sonic Adventure itself, with a little sprinkling of the Sonic X cast or dynamics, could work. Um, Fairly straightforward storyline, big peril CG monster for the end. Have your human child character to appeal to the demographic and act as the ambassador for the audience to a world full of talking animal people. Um, But honestly, the movie as it is, I think does a fine job. I was super dubious, to be
Mm-hmm.
sure, but I mean, what's there is fine. I like it as it is. It's a Sonic movie, not for just the Sonic fans, but for everybody. And I think that's the important thing, and I think that's something I would have trouble grappling with. So I don't know. I'm gonna just default to the way that the current movie is. I think that's fine. I think it's good.
Yeah, some people didn't like that they made Sonic younger. It made him, but
I can get that,
but
but
yeah,
I mean, it's also something a little different. And I really, really dug Jim Carrey's Robotnik
yep,
a lot more than I thought I would.
yeah,
So no, I dig it.
yep. He embodies that character quite well, which I expected him to do a pretty decent enough job at it, but it was better than I expected.
I was afraid he was going to kind of fall back into here's goofy '90s Jim Carrey,
Mm,
but he captured the arrogance and the cruelty
yeah.
of Robotnik
Mm-hmm.
that I really really like.
Yep.
So no, I'm happy with the movie. It was fun. It was cute.
Yeah. Yep. And here's a question from Marshall H. So, Surge, eh? I have to ask, was there any pushback on that? Because that's damn near blatant.
Well, I mean, when we initially pitched the idea, and this was back at the beginning of Metal Virus, we were going to do a trio of glitch characters: Starline, Surge, and Kit. And part of the thing was Sega was saying, don't make it so overtly game connected, make them their own characters. Like, don't just say, here's the glitch character, haha. Make them into their own identities, which is a good note. And also because introducing 3 new villains and doing the Metal Virus plot was going to be way too much at once. So we shelved Surge and Kit and focused on Starline, which was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now that Metal Virus is done, we're able to explore that more. And Starline is set up so that we have the ability to continue the glitch character references and have fun with it. Give them time to grow as individuals and establish them as villains.
Right. They meant the name, but we're not. Are we not addressing that, right?
Well, it's a surge of lightning. Shadow, Silver, Sonic, Surge.
Got it.
It's thematic.
Got it. Got it. Got it. I understand. Here's a question from Raphael C. I recently heard that the Rival series is non-canon. If that's true, then how come Silver and Sonic already knew each other during the events of Sonic Generations?
Shrug emoji.
And maybe it wasn't canon. Maybe it was canon at the time, and then it became uncanon. Who knows?
That's possible. I mean, Rivals 2 kills off Eggman Nigga, and he's not shown up in anything outside of tie-in stuff. So I'm clinging to that. I'm saying, yeah, no, he's gone. Sure, until I'm proven wrong, but I'm clinging to it. I'm clinging to it real hard. I hate that character.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Bad name, bad design, bad gimmick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All gone.
Until he comes back and it's like, oh yeah, Doc, he's a fine character. I'm sure I can do something with him. Bleh.
Well, you could, but still wouldn't. You would be begrudgingly doing it. Here's a question from Six Claude. If you can transfer one original hero or villain from IDW Sonic into Archie Sonic, which characters would it be? Okay, so this one's going back the other way.
Oh, huh.
I mean, Starline would be an egg boss. He'd be an egg boss, I think. So.
But he'd run too many. He'd have a fun dynamic, but he'd be kind of like a mishmash of Maw and Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that's kind of crowding an already crowded table.
It would be. Yeah, but
Mimic was originally going to be an Archie character. We just never had the place for him. So that would be him coming home. I don't know what role he would serve. I don't know where he would go, but that would be kind of ironic, at least to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or Rough and Tumble. I'm counting them as a unit.
Well, they are. They are an absolute unit.
But they could transplant over and be another set of D-listers.
Oh yeah. We need more of those on post-reboot Archie, at least. We had way too many on pre-reboot. But all right, here's the question from our good buddy Scruffy Matt. Hey guys.
Scruffy.
Huh?
Howdy, Scruffy.
Hey guys, congratulations on your new career as a journalist, apparently. I wanted to help, so I got you an interview with J. Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle. That's so hard to say. What will you say to convince him to give you the job? Oh, and don't worry about NGI. Ian told me that he'll take over the show for you while you're busy with the new job. Well, it was either Ian or a sock puppet of Ian. I couldn't really be sure in the dark. What would I say to that? I have pictures of Spider-Man. That's all I'd say. I mean, I'd be hired immediately, right?
That's what he wants.
That's what he always wants. That's all he ever wants. He just wants pictures of Spider-Man. So there we go. That'll get me hired. Maybe. Pictures. Oh, yes.
Bonus.
Yes. Pictures that make him look bad. So, of course, that's what I would say. Here's another question.
50 cents. It'll only buy you a lemon, but then you can burn Spider-Man's house down with the lemon.
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Get even.
Man to speak, the life's manager.
Yes. All right, here's a question. Another question from Syed C. Apparently they asked a lot. What do you want or hope for from Sonic Prime? We've done this before, but we can go through. We can say real quick. You will especially be quick. So go ahead. Oops.
Yeah, I can't talk about Prime.
Okay.
I absolutely cannot. Sorry.
I'm hoping that it's good and that it will have some fun with the alternate universe ideas and do something cool and new and different, and maybe also throw in a couple of references to some older incarnations of Sonic at some point. We'll see. Here's a question, another question from Mecha from the 80s. Oh, nope, this question has actually been answered already, so never mind on that one. Here's one from Wolfsbane. Ian, what Sonic headcanon did you have growing up?
Let's see. Lots of misinterpretations. This actually was coming up in a work chat earlier. Back when Knuckles first came out, and I had no idea what he was. I thought he was a dog. And then, reading up, it's like, he's an echidna. What's an echidna? And that pretty much sparked my fascination with weird animals. So thank you, Knuckles.
Yeah.
That's why you're awesome.
Yeah.
My only experience with Knuckles Chaotix was a gaming magazine for years. And for some reason, I thought Espio was a girl. So that colored my interpretation of his interactions with Knuckles to a degree.
Yeah.
And I don't know. A lot of my headcanon stuff just kind of evolved as the games and the comics did until I actually got to apply it to the book.
Nice. Nice.
You're basically reading my filtered headcanon.
You're reading Ian's Sonic fanfic right now. Congratulations.
Officially sanctioned.
Yep, that's right. That's what
the dream.
That's what a lot of people say to disparage the comics. It's like, well, no, I mean that you're not wrong. You were correct. I mean, literally everyone who was previously a fan of something and is now writing it is writing their own personal fan fiction, official fan fiction. So I say embrace it. Do it. Take it. Make it your own. Let's see here. I saw a question in the chat that I want to address now because I'm not sure we'll get to it. But I did answer it in the chat, but I want you to answer it, Ian. This is from Blank. What glitch is Kit based on?
This one's a little more obscure, and it might be just kind of personal.
Yeah, I think people are getting kind of confused about it. It's a very obscure. It's a much more obscure glitch than the other two, I feel like.
But just if you're listening to this and you're like, what glitch characters? What are you talking about? Let's just lay the baseline. Starline was inspired by Wechina, a glitch from Knuckles Chaotix where Knuckles' sprite is given Tails' palette and he becomes all white and red. So that was the very, very core basis that we started from.
Mm-hmm.
Surge is based off of the Assure glitch. That one's famous enough. I don't think I need to explain it too much.
It's Sonic 2, so.
Yeah. And then in Sonic 3, I was trying to replicate the Assure glitch. I wanted to do an Assure run of the game because I was a turbo nerd. And I kind of got it to work on Angel Island Zone, but it doesn't really work anywhere else because it's the palette that you're messing with in the debug menu. And in one of the passes, I managed to turn Tails and Knuckles into these deep purpley blues in Launch Base Zone, I think. And those were the only times I could really get Tails to look different consistently. And that just kind of stuck with me over the years. So as we were putting this together, and for reasons I can't get into just yet, it's like, okay, what do I do for the Tails analog? And that sprite glitch came back to me.
Yeah. There's, I think it's in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there's a glitch that has kind of like is blue Knuckles. So, like, I think it is a palette glitch where I think if you beat the level, it shows up Knuckles. I think it'll be Tails, like some weird malformed version of Tails, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But if you beat the level, it says Knuckles finished act, whatever. And then, but the Knuckles will be blue instead of red. So I think it's something along those lines too. So blue Knuckles, that seems more what people are going for. Also, what the heck was that? Is it thundering over there?
Yeah, there's a thunderstorm coming through. My room just got lit up by a flash of lightning. So if I disappear, I apologize.
All right. We'll try to make it. Quick here. Here's another question, or here is a question from Without a Plan. What is one obscure video game series you would love to see Sonic cross over with? Obscure video game series.
Yeah, I'm not totally well versed in obscure games.
Well, I mean, I would just say that Skies of Arcadia is kind of obscure.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's a cult classic. That could work. But I always go back to Skies of Arcadia. That feels lazy.
I know, but I'm the one who threw it out there, so I'm the lazy one this time.
Now, I do remember way back, there was a X-Men game where the beginning level randomly chooses your character and drops you in a snowfield and you just go, which is a really interesting way, a cold open for a video game.
Literally.
And I had just this vivid image in my head of plugging it into the Sonic and Knuckles cart and starting the X-Men game, but it's Knuckles that drops down and you play the game as Knuckles. And I'm like, why doesn't this work? Having no idea how programming works.
Yeah.
So I would have loved to play X-Men as Knuckles.
Well, I mean,
Knuckles fighting the Brood. Come on.
Well, there's some mods of Streets of Rage that have Knuckles in them. Knuckles in Streets of Rage. That sounds pretty awesome.
Game that I just recently wrapped up, kind of an RPG called Scarlet Nexus, which is all about psychic powers. I could see being turned into a silver game super easy.
Yeah.
So that's not really a crossover, but it's, Scarlet Nexus is weird. Like, it had a lot of hype coming in and it has a good Metacritic score, but I see nobody talk about it.
Yeah. And here's another one from Syed C. Video dream Sonic story that Sega would not allow. Oh, nope, sorry. Okay. Bumble King videos. Okay, sorry. I got that confused. Dream Sonic story that Sega would not allow.
I'm not gonna say it because I still want to pitch it, and you never know when it's gonna go through.
Yeah.
But it involves Blaze, and it involves the multiple dimensions and having fun with the soul and Chaos Emeralds.
Yes.
Let's just leave it at that.
I'm down.
I may have already detailed this in a previous BumbleKast and completely forgot about it, but who knows? I don't. I can't retain anything.
Me neither. But I'm ready for Blaze. Make it happen. All right, here we go. Here's a question. There's a super chat from PC the Unicorn. Would Classic Honey still be a fashion designer?
I think so. I want to say that was in her profile, or am I confusing her with Candy and they've just fully merged in my head?
I don't remember, know. But
I think there's some kind of lingering potential rights issue with her and Candy. I don't know, but I'll tackle that at a later date because I want to see more honey.
Me too. Delicious, delicious honey. It's tasty. Oh, you mean the character? Yeah. She's cool too. Chartographer217 has a question. Imagine you need to turn Dr. Eggman into a hero without changing his personality too much. How would you approach such a task? Also, hi Kyle. Hello, Chartographer217. How are you? Hope you're doing okay.
Bell grabs the Hypno Glove off of Starline, gives a full Hypno Blast to Eggman's face, resets him to Mr. Tinker.
There we go. Perfect. Here's a question from Raphael C. Which characters remember the events of Sonic 06? Who knows at this point?
I don't think anybody should, because Elise and Sonic went back before the Solaris experiment even happened and snuffed him out, so none of 06 happened. Like, not even Silver's future should have happened. Nobody should remember anything. It should be rendered completely moot.
But would Sonic remember the events of Sonic 06 that led to him having to go back and snuff that out? Because then he would.
Once that happened, it wouldn't have happened at all. So, because the Solaris experiment was 10 years prior to the present, so Sonic wouldn't have met at least by a decade. He would have been like 5
maybe
at that point.
Maybe.
So.
Styx remembers it.
Well, that's because Styx sees things, man. She knows more than anybody because she pays attention. Not like you sheeple, with no offense to the sheep in the audience, but she looks into things, man. She understands. She looks under the covers.
She knows. She goes beyond
the rug.
She knows. She goes beyond the fourth wall. She knows she's in a comic book or video game or TV show. She knows, but she plays along with it because she doesn't want to get people mad at her. She doesn't want the creator coming down and snuffing her out. Here's the one from Raphael C. again. Or did we have one from? Yeah, we did. Okay. What situations in the current Sonic canon do you think are irreconcilable besides the two worlds problem?
Irreconcilable?
Sonic 06?
Yeah, I mean that really is better.
Blaze being either from the future or from an alternate universe.
Yeah, I keep coming back to that one. Like, I want to fix it, and it's like it really isn't worth the effort it would take to fix. Just say she's from her planet and run with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing really egregious comes up. I want to know, where Knuckles is from. If most of his clan was wiped out by perfect chaos, and then that chunk of land was ripped up into the sky by Tikal and the Master Emerald, who was around to watch over things? Where are the rest of the echidnas? Why is he alone? Like, he doesn't even know. So, like, what's the dealio? Where's my boy from?
If a tree falls in the woods, is Knuckles there to see it? Something like that. Oh, man. Here's one. Here's a super chat from Kojiro B. Another one. I found another $5. Have it. Favorite arcade cabinet of all time?
There was one that I never had the courage to get into, but it was kind of like this double ringed gyroscope floating seat VR shooter thing.
I think that's Sega's G-Lock.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing it as a kid and really wanting to play it, but being afraid of like getting thrown around too much. And then seeing it again years and years later at an arcade in Niagara Falls and going, I am too heavy to sit in that chair. I'm going to break this old machine. I will pine for you from afar.
The G-Lock arcade cabinet is awesome, yes. I mean, I'll always have a soft spot for particularly Daytona USA 2's full deluxe cabinet, which is just a giant hydraulic car that moves around. Same with Virtua Racing. Also has a very similar setup. It's really awesome when you have 8 of them all connected together and you just have this giant wall of screen going across and then 8 cars and all in front of them, and you get in them. It's awesome. Trying to think of what other ones I like.
I've heard of a similar setup like that, but for like Mech Warrior.
Oh yeah, yep, something like that.
Oh, I want to do that. I'm not even that big of a fan of the series, but that sounds like so much fun.
That would be awesome. Yeah, Afterburner Climax has a really cool cabinet too. You get into a fighter pilot cockpit basically, and it moves around too and shakes you around as you're flying. So it's a bit of a bit like the original Afterburner cabinet, but taken to a whole new modern level. So yeah, that's awesome. So Sega's usually on the ball when it comes to arcade cabinets more than anyone else. They're just, yeah, Sega's always the best. Always the best. Although I will say that the Namco arcade cabinet for Ridge Racer is pretty awesome. It's definitely eye-catching. It's ginormous, so I don't think it moves around though, which is a bit of a shame. But that's okay. Here's one from Holly's Wacky World, a super chat question. Which Sonic character could you see having spaghetti and meatballs as their favorite dish?
Eggman.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. Like, he is obsessed with, very perfectly curling the spaghetti around the fork.
Mm-hmm.
The precise ratio of spaghetti to meatball to face. And he's very meticulous. It takes him like an hour to finish a plate, but that plate is immaculate by the end.
Oh, yeah.
Never spills a drop on himself. So, I mean, the guy's a master.
Nice. I love spaghetti and meatballs. Or just spaghetti and any kind of meat, really. I like it. Here's another one from Sonic Mania 2099, another super chat. I should be specific. I gotta ask this one. Will Sonic Boom be coming to IDW?
No. Sonic Boom is done.
Sadly. Left us on that season 2 cliffhanger. Or did they? I don't remember. I don't remember if there was actually a cliffhanger or not. Probably not. This is Sonic Boom we're talking about after all. And our last super chat question for a little while comes to us from System 509. Gordon Freeman versus Sonic the Hedgehog. Who wins? This is a reference to an old magazine, in case you're wondering.
I don't know. They seem to have fairly comparable power sets. Like, I could see Sonic pulling off Gordon Freeman's stunts fighting the Combine. I can see Gordon taking on the Death Egg and various badniks with just a crowbar. So,
yeah. But this is versus Sonic.
I think it's a tie. I honestly don't think one could beat the other. I mean, sure, he catches every spin dash with a gravity gun and launches him, but Sonic comes right back.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, could Gordon knock Sonic out of a spin with the crowbar? Just
No,
smack
but the
him,
gravity gun, man.
or
Gravity gun.
that? Yeah, gravity gun. Sure. Do we want to give Gordon the portal gun and make him a little bit too overpowered?
Nah.
Why not? I don't know. All right. Here's another one from Syed C. Think there's anything really interesting about Sonic being a prince?
It doesn't add anything to him, really.
He'd
If
hate it.
anything, I suppose. We're talking Sonic Underground, right? Where the kingdom has already fallen, and he didn't grow up with any real royal trappings. It's just a
Right.
title that
Sure.
he has no real affinity towards. It's a more extreme version of Sally, who, for the large part, did not act as a princess. It was just a title, but at least for her, it gave her motivation to, restore her kingdom and find her father and set things back to the way they should be. It drove her character a bit. Sonic, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now what happens? I will never give up the throne.
That's not
Sorry.
Sonic Universe or Sonic Underground's theme song.
No, it's not.
How dare you cancel Sonic Underground, by the way?
Oh,
Still
yeah,
salty about that.
yeah.
You were like, what, 15? How dare you? Here's a question from Sonic Toast. In Sonic Adventure 1, we saw Chaos 0, Chaos 1, Chaos 2, Chaos 4, and Chaos 6, and Perfect Chaos. What do you think Chaos 3 and Chaos 5 would look like?
Okay, so I totally doodled these up when I was a kid. Chaos 3 would have been a snake. All right. The 3 emeralds would have all been aligned, and it would have been this long, snaky type thing.
That's
And
pretty.
then
That's pretty
as
cool.
4, he would have expanded into the fish. And 5, shoot, what did I have for 5? It'd have to be some kind of middle ground between the fish and the giant frog monster.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say because you have that 1/5 emerald that's kind of odd off. And Chaos 6 already has the kind of scorpion tail thing going on because he reabsorbed the tail. So you don't want to give him like a special tail flail that robs the final form of its importance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something vaguely unicorn Kieran esque, like that 5th emerald kind of horn related. I don't know, but that's not really aquatic, and a lot of the other forms are kind of aquatic themed. Goblin shark? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. But Chaos 3 would have been a snake. I will die on that hill.
Snake. Here's a question from PC the Unicorn. Ian, it recently occurred to me that while many Sonic characters have gotten rivals, Amy has never had a rival of herself. How would you go about creating a rival for Amy?
I think Amy needs to have her own individual motivation more clearly defined first.
Yeah.
And then we can think of a rival character. Because you're absolutely right. And it's something that's kind of crossed my mind. But she doesn't really have a singular motivation. It's, she's kind of graduated from Chase Sonic, which is good. But aside from be the nice one or be the helpful one, she doesn't have as clearly defined a point as so much as the rest of the cast. So I think she needs that first, and then you can find some kind of antithesis or way to flip it to go from there.
Right. Something like that. Here's a question from Chi H. Considering that the animal people have no idea about Sonic and Friends' adventures on Earth, would you imagine that the humans or Gun would be super fascist against the animal people?
I don't think so, because the humans never seem to be aggressive or even negative towards Sonic, and he has saved the planet multiple times.
Except when they thought he was Shadow, and
yeah, but that's Gun
him
Commander losing his oatmeal over thinking it's Shadow. That's a personal vendetta.
Yeah, true.
The humans in general have been nothing but positive towards Sonic, so they're like, oh, it's a whole planet of Sonics? Yeah, all right, cool. Party.
Neat. Here's one from our good buddy Godzilla. If you could give Omega one new weapon to his arsenal, what would it be?
Wispons.
Oh, no.
Built-in Wispons.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Tiny luminous creatures. Fuel my destruction.
Oh, no.
Feed my need for devastation. We will burn things together.
Oh, man.
Twin Scion Gatling Cannon Laser, go.
Yes. I need this. We need this to happen.
Pink Spike Wisp, I need more DACA.
Oh, man. Imagine just Omega and Whisper just walking into a place, just freaking be like that point in Captain America when they break out the castle and start shooting guys, just shooting fools. It's great. Here's another one from Syed C. What would your take on Infinite be?
He needs to be rebuilt. I don't mean that in a physical robotic sense. I think he needs to be grounded in his motivations and his power set and his desires. That's synonymous with motivations, you dingus. This is why we don't do this live all the time.
I would leave that in if we if we weren't.
And I'm dependent on you, so it would stay.
Yes.
We need to establish who he is first, and then build him from there and make him a credible threat again. I think after his quasi defeat at the end of Forces, number one, we need to know what happened at the end of Forces. And two, I feel like he needs to be just reestablished and then brought back up from there. His powers also need to be nerfed a little bit because right now he's crazy broken.
Yep. Also, just want to mention real quick, guys, we do not have any super chat questions in the queue, so if you want to get bumped up, you know what to do. Hit us up with those. Here's one from Vlad C. What are Eggman's thoughts on the 3 laws of robotics? And speaking of robots, are Heavy and Bomb on the table to be used? Classic, of course. Or are they barred from appearing?
The 3 rules of robotics are his favorite jokes. He can't believe anybody actually took those seriously. Heavy and Bomb, I assume, are available for Classic. I'm not sure. Because I think technically Knuckles Chaotix is non-canon to Classic Sonic now. And
which is dumb, but okay.
I'm 99% sure that Classic Chaotix are off the table because they want to keep them exclusively modern. So Heavy and Bomb might be kind of put behind the 8 ball for that. I'm honestly not sure because I haven't tried. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And was there another question in there?
No. That's it. Just Heavy and Bomb and the 3 laws of robotics.
Okay.
Here's a question from PC the Unicorn. Ian, what led to the creation of the human detectives you made for Mega Man, Agent Krantz and Stern? What led to the creation of these 2, and did you have any big plans for them?
Part of it was Paul Kaminsky wanted more female representation in the book, which, Mega Man, it has a dearth of female characters, sadly.
Yeah.
And there was a mutual desire to see more of Mega Man's world. Not just the robot masters, but what is humanity like in a society with walking, talking robots? And so we came up with the federal agents as individuals who would be investigating Wily's antics, who would be human, who would give us different aspects on it. Krantz being younger and more open to the next generation of machinery, and Stern being not. Credit to my parents for helping me think of the name. Yeah, I see that. Because I was really having trouble thinking of a name for these two. And they said, well, you had to focus a Shakespearean university. Use that. Yep. I don't know, do a play on Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. It's like, that's brilliant. I am descended from you. So that's where they came from.
Nice.
Long term, not super much. Ooh, lights are flickering hardcore. So
okay,
if I disappear, we'll pick up when I get power. But
okay,
we'll see how it goes. I did want to.
Uh-oh.
I'm surprised we still have any Wi-Fi. I did want to address Quint and establish a stable time loop there, and we would see at least Rose in the future and implications for Gil and Wiley, but that's too deep of a question that I want to get into right now, especially since I'm apparently on a time limit.
All right, let's keep things rolling here. We got a super chat from Speedweed. Okay, so worlds collide, except throw in the X Crew and Wily and Mega Man get switched up for Trio or Evil Robot and the Star Droids toward the end. How would things play out?
I don't know, because I'm not super familiar with that era of Mega Man. I didn't research that deeply.
The Game Boy games specifically, yeah, the Star Droids are from that. So,
but I mean, oh god, you're asking me to do this on the fly.
Making it hard, man.
See, I can't really frame it because I don't know Geo and all that too well.
Quint, yeah.
I mean, Worlds Collide. Sorry, swap out Wily for an Eggman for who?
For Trio / Evil Robot and the Star Droids toward the end.
Or Evil Robot. Evil Robot. That would be less fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just kind of overtly bad robots. There's nothing really driving Sonic to do anything outside of beat evil robots, and that's par for the course. You remove Eggman and Wily, you lose all of that fun, wicked bromance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I honestly can't think of, off the top of my head, anything to really be fun with that.
Yeah. You could probably make it work if you had more time, but, you know, we're on a time limit,
sure.
so...
Yeah.
Here's a question from Mystery Flavor, a super chat question. Ian, how do you name new Sonic characters?
Depends on which direction we're going in terms of creation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the name comes first. Like it's a word that I think sounds cool and you can do a fun gimmick with it. And then what is the character that can use that gimmick? You know, like Tangle's not a good example because she was kind of a back and forth, but I guess Rough and Tumble are a good example. Rough and Tumble, the names came first.
Right.
And then it was, okay, well, who are they? Well, with names like Rough and Tumble, they're going to be ruffians. They are a rough and tumble bunch. And we could go in a number of directions with that, but we don't have a lot of low tier villains. So they sound like a fun Rocksteady and Bebop type, a rough and tumble. Yeah, okay. Well, what are they? And I did not have a concrete idea for species with them. They could have been two different species. They could have been the same. That was entirely in Tyson's wheelhouse, and Tyson has did the designs, and they're phenomenal. And that's where they came from.
Nice. And here's one from Kojiro B. Super chat. When you plan the story for Sonic, do you leave room in the writing for in case Sega crashes in and asks the comic to fit in the next mainline game?
No, because generally speaking, we haven't had to deal with that in IDW, come to think of it. And when Team Sonic Racing was coming out, we knew of it beforehand, and that got a special.
Right.
So I think we have a more direct line with Sega than we did with Archie. So I don't foresee surprises like that happening again. I don't know how IDW will handle it, if we'll get another special for whatever comes next or what we'll do, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore, he said, tempting fate.
Yeah. Here's a question from Wolfsbane, a super chat question. Does the classic / modern split hurt you as a writer and the series as a whole?
Nah, not at all. Sure, I would love to mix and match some of the characters, but I actually like classic being more defined as its own thing now. And if we do, like when we did the classic special,
Yeah,
switch gears into something more lighthearted and straightforward and take a break from, seriously crafted narratives for modern, just to have some fun with it. And then, okay, that was fun. We had some laughs. It looked gorgeous. Let's get back to doing a little more serious storytelling, and that's modern again. So no, I rather enjoyed the split, to be honest.
oh man, I finally did read the 30th anniversary special, and it's fantastic. Loved it all the way through. Here's one from Jeremy K. Hey Ian, what exactly is the entity that helped Chip regain his memory in the Archie reboot? It's implied to be God, but did you have any specific ideas? Or explicit ideas?
It's been a bit, but I'm pretty sure that was more of a reference to Unleashed when he finds his greater essence in that one cutscene. The kind of hidden power of Light Gaia and reawakens. I'd have to go back and reread it and rewatch the cutscene, but I think that's what it was. I think it's been a while. Sorry.
Here's a question from System 509. I've been watching a lot of Marvel What If recently. Any good Sonic What Ifs you guys can think of off the top of your heads?
Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what if you follow up on any of the tangents from Shadow's game? What if he did go full evil and join the Black Arms, and now he's helping them conquer other planets? What if he took over the Black Arms himself? What if he actually was an android and led a robot revolution? Let's see.
What if the franchise were based on Blaze instead of Sonic?
Sure.
Yeah, the whole franchise. What if Blaze was the main character?
What if Sonic didn't beat Shadow to the end of the Eclipse cannon and it fired on the Earth?
Mm-hmm.
What if Maria never got sick? What if Knuckles was the one to inspire Tails instead of Sonic? Gosh, they're like every key moment in the series say, what if that didn't happen that way? Like, what if Pachimaka managed to get to the Chaos Emeralds before Chaos could?
There's someone in the chat. I'm laughing at them. Pretty sure it's not who they claim to be, but it's very funny that they're there regardless. Anyway, yeah, lots of good what if scenarios possible. I don't know, just throw them all out there. Why not? Let's do it. Let's see. Here's a question from PC the Unicorn. What's faster, Extreme Gear or Rush from Mega Man in jet mode? Probably extreme gear, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's running on the F-Zero engine, so yeah. Sonic Riders is. So there you go. Here's a question from Daventhal. If Sega said you could bring Nicole back, but her holographic body had to be a different animal since her Lynx design was too associated with Archie, what animal would she be?
I don't know. Nigh upon anything. Um, maybe an owl because she's supposed to be so wise. I know owls are dumb birds, but it's kind of an animal trait, and we
Yeah,
don't really see a lot of owls.
right.
I know Longclaw exists. I know there's a lot of owl imagery in the early games. I said we don't see a lot of owls.
What about the owl from the OVA? Don't forget that guy.
Okay, yeah, but see, they're the stand. You know what, Kyle? You know what?
Yes. No. Could be like that jerk owl in Ocarina of Time who who asks you, do you not want to see this again now or whatever? I forget. Like it was a whole bunch of just a whole bunch of things that contradicted each other, which it didn't make any sense. And if you pushed, I think if you pushed yes, he would repeat what he said, and if you pushed no, he would not. So,
Kaipora Gaibor is just making sure you're paying attention.
yes. And here's a super chat question from Mike B. So, if the next mainline Sonic game comes out, would elements come into the comics, or is the comic going to stay mostly the same as it has been?
It depends on the nature of the game and the nature of the elements and what Sega wants us to do. Timing wise, probably not anytime soon because it going by previous experience, they don't want to spoil game elements in the book. So if the book comes out, early or late in comparison to the game, that can mess with that perception. So I think there would be a fair buffer around it at the very least.
All right, and here's a question from Mystery Flavor. Super chat specifically. If Jewel ever got to fight alongside Sonic and friends, what would she use for battle?
I imagine she's largely a non-combatant. When coming up with her, I imagined her as the partner character to Tangle, and that she would act as a movable flying anchor for Tangle to uh, zip line to with her tail. If push came to shove, I imagine that carapace of hers is hard enough that she can do a kind of bombshell attack like Charmy does, like his sting kind of. But otherwise, she would avoid conflict where she could.
Alrighty. And here's a question from Steven. And if you could go back in time and change one thing about year 1 or year 2 of the IDW Sonic comics, what would it be and why?
I might avoid Metal Overlord and just stick to Super Neo. That was one bit of fairly common feedback I saw was that Super Neo was super cool and the more streamlined Metal Overlord was not. And they're not wrong. I just wanted to showcase all the heroes coming together to defeat a greater foe. Whereas I felt like Neo was a more personal level enemy to Sonic and Knuckles. But I mean, that artwork, man, Super Neo was so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And the one-on-one fight that Adam drew on the airship was so freaking cool. It's like, I kind of want to bring Neo back because it just looks so good. For year 2, maybe find a way to speed it up. I'm not sure where that would be because there was a lot going on and a lot of what happened was very meticulously planned, but it was also a year and a half, which went 6 months longer than I wanted to. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I would cut. or, you know, what I would be comfortable cutting for the most part, but maybe bring it down a little bit.
Hmm. Here's a question from Lemon Yuri. I feel a lot of superhero comic influences in your writing for the IDW comics, but especially in the Archie days. Is it voluntary, or is it a natural consequence of the medium?
Little column A, little column B. A lot of late pre-reboot and post-reboot, I learned I could get approved easier if I pitched like an X-Men story, and that kind of affected things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think of them as superheroes, but I guess that was closer to the mentality pre-reboot, especially. Now I'm leaning more towards your kind of shonen manga mentality, which is really hard to pull off in a 20-page monthly book. But I'm trying to go for something that's a little faster paced, a little more action oriented, and a little more focused narratively, I guess.
Ah. All right. Well, I have a question here, Ian. Um, I'm going to message it to you, and you can tell me whether or not we should answer it. So you can
Mysterious.
pre-screen it here. But while we do that, I'll go ahead and ask you another one too. So here's a question. Another question from Vlad C. Was it out of character for Sonic to have cried in Sonic X or imprisoned Eraser Jin in Sonic Rings? On that note, what's Sonic's stance on prison in general?
I don't remember him crying. Oh, wait, that was at the end of season 2 when he's going back home and saying goodbye to Chris. Um, I mean, he's not supposed to be overly emotional, but I think the way they portrayed it and the type of he's focusing on the moment and the movement and he's allowing himself that vulnerability works well enough. Um, imprisoning a Razor Jin. I mean, the dude shot him with an arrow that was burning away his soul, man. And he was going to rewrite, if not one world, then multiple worlds for various bad reasons. And he was using Shahra. So he's a genie. That's kind of their thing. They are trapped in the lamp.
Yeah.
In general, I don't see him being fond of it because I believe his philosophy is more about freedom for all, for everyone to be who they want to be. But at the same time, I don't see him being so naive as to say you shouldn't stop someone if you need to. It kind of depends on who it is and what the situation is.
Hmm.
As for that question you messaged me, Kyle, I would
Yes.
rather avoid it.
Okie dokie. Sounds
I
good.
mean, it's nothing too inflammatory on its own, but given all the other context, I'm just really tired of being on the receiving end of this.
Yeah. I figured that's why I asked.
I do appreciate it.
All right. Well, here's a super chat question from Kimiko. I was wondering what your thoughts on a dynamic between Starline and Infinite would be like.
Not good. Because Infinite seems to be kind of stupid. And not in your I'm a moron, but just in a kind of oblivious blinders on sort of way. And Starline would take advantage of that because he's a mean, nasty person. But Infinite would eventually clue in that he's being used and react in a violent way. So it would just be a bad time overall for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's another one from PC the Unicorn. One trope I love seeing in stories is characters going into someone's mind and seeing how said character's mind is structured. How do you imagine the minds of Sonic, Eggman, and Whisper?
Sonic is just basically a Sonic level. Loops and ramps and dives, and it's various thoughts kind of racing around and zipping around or just kind of idling under a palm tree somewhere.
Yep, and it's
He
classic Sonic music playing on a loop.
yeah, he's always on the go. His thoughts are always going until he just stops and chills out.
Yeah.
Eggman's is what does Eggman's mind palace look like?
Like his actual palace, like his
Well,
fortress, you know.
yeah, I guess like this big Las Vegas-esque sprawling palace.
So it's Eggman Land.
Yeah, just it also has enormous big gears and chains and stuff working along, always cranking,
Right.
always calculating, always turning, always computing and producing. And always with garish colors and thinking far too highly of itself. Whispers, I imagine, would be very dark, as in just like a very dimly lit room. And at any given moment, it's oppressive and kind of spooky or kind of calm and serene. It kind of depends on what thought has kind of surfaced at the time.
Yeah.
And, Whisper herself is just kind of in this spotlight at the center as, she allows things to surface or to not.
Yeah. I like it. Here's a question from Wolf's Bane. Who would you rather see direct a Sonic game? Miyamoto or Daisuke Sato from the Yakuza series? Some real silliness from the Yakuza side. I would love to see that, but I mean, a Miyamoto Sonic game could be interesting. I wonder how he would approach it.
I feel like he would give us something that had a very solid core experience
Yeah.
and a lot of polish, but not a lot of meat on the bone. Like what's there is, immaculately designed, but that's all you're going to get. It's going to be the same thing over
Right.
and over and over. And you'll have a couple of side diversions, which are, fun, but they're kind of one and done. You're not going to get a lot out of it. They're diversions.
Yeah.
So what you'll have is solid, but it's kind of one of those, oh, this is great. And then you put it down and you never pick it up again. Yakuza, though, I have not played them myself, but from what I've heard, they are a visceral, really just suck you in type of game with where all the diversions are engrossing and just add more to something that you have a hard time putting down, and that it's all very structurally sound. So I believe I'd go with column B.
Yeah. Sakurai doing a Sonic game might be pretty interesting.
Well,
it might get a little too big for itself though, you know.
It would have a ton of stuff,
Uh-huh.
and some of it might be a little superfluous, and the menus would be weird.
Well, yeah, of course. They have to be.
But it would be fun as hell, dude.
And the music would be awesome. Or Kojima. Yeah, okay, here we go. Actually, here's one from Kojiro B to add on to it. What do you think a Sonic game made by Hideo Kojima would be like?
It'd be Sonic 06, except with a solid enough engine, another 40 hours of cutscenes.
Yes.
And 3 different gameplay styles that you're suddenly having to play at any given point in the story.
Uh-huh. And none of them would be something we've seen in Sonic before, right?
Yeah. I mean, you think it was bad in SA2 to go from running to shooting to emerald hunting? It would be that. Only like in the middle of your initial gameplay loop.
And
now, what those individual segments would be nuanced to the point of ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're playing this shooting section, your bullets would have gravitational drop off or something. but it would be a incomprehensible esoteric mess.
Yeah.
And people would argue about it for years to come. And that one subsection of the internet would be convinced that this one rocky outcropping looks vaguely like uh, Eva, and therefore this is all part of the Eternal Ruse Cruise to bring back Metal Gear Solid.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Here's a question from Skull Cake. Hi, Ian. What is Dr. Starline's biggest fear? Is there something he's absolutely terrified of?
He is terrified of mediocrity. That he will not be the next Eggman, that he will be just some ordinary individual, someone without vision, someone without gravitas, someone who does not leave their mark in history, someone that will just kind of exist in the background with the masses. And he is terrified of being just a normal person. That and centipedes.
Sure, why not?
Here's a question. I stole that one from Backward Knees. I got to be honest.
Okay. And here's a super chat from Frost the White Lion. I wonder, has Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Jack Kirby been an inspiration to you when it comes to writing stories? If so, what was it?
Not really, because I came into comics well after their tenure. It's more of their legacy that is an influence, because they created the baseline for so much that everyone has built off of for decades. And that kind of mentality of adding to the mythos, contributing to a franchise, taking what came before and putting your own spin on it, or retconning it, or maliciously tearing it down in some cases, Jesus, is really interesting to me in terms of just the way a narrative is constructed. And seeing these writers who came along who would mine these super old concepts that those founders came up with and putting a spin on it is really interesting to me. And honoring what came before, which is what I tried to do with the pre-reboot stuff, is I grew up on this book and I get to contribute to the tapestry, so I tried to honor what had come before while also putting my own spin on it, like every other franchise book the history of Western comics.
Yeah, pretty much.
So not them specifically, but their legacy, I guess.
Nice. All right, here we go. Here's one from Godzilla. How does Omega view Belle? Does he consider Mr. Tinker as someone opposite from Dr. Eggman, or should Belle watch her back?
Ooh.
Interesting.
That is a very good question. And you know what? I'm going to put that one on the shelf. I'm going to actually take that and kind of talk to Evan about it and say, what do you think? Mostly because Belle's kind of her creation. I don't want to step on her toes, but that's a really interesting dynamic. But for Omega and Mr. Tinker, I think I can do that without stepping on her toes.
Sure.
I think he would be initially very gung-ho on mowing him down now that he's prone. But he would realize that Mr. Tinker is not the man who created him, and would ultimately not pull the trigger. He would want to destroy Eggman, and Tinker is not Eggman.
Right.
Man, that would have been cool. Shoot. Okay, going back to the previous question. If I could change anything in year one, it would be do that.
Well, hey. Nice bonus. Here's a question from Syed C. Do you have a headcanon or any thoughts of what Christmas Island, Sonic's birthplace, is like?
Short of that is some super obscure non-canon stuff.
Super
No,
obscure, yeah.
no, it's I wouldn't really consider that ever anymore.
I used to think Sonic's birthday was Thanksgiving, actually, because I very distinctly remember when Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was still airing, they played the Sonic's birthday episode on Thanksgiving. So I remember watching it on Thanksgiving and being like, well, I guess Sonic's birthday is Thanksgiving. That's one of my headcanons right there. Keep in mind, I was like, what? When was this popular? 93, 94? So I'd have been like,
Yeah.
I'd have been like 7, 6, somewhere around there. Math is hard. But yeah, that was my thinking. Was like, well, if they're playing this on this day, this must be Sonic's birthday.
And he comes from Christmas Island. All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know about the Christmas Island thing or anything, but I just was thinking, oh, okay, so it's Sonic's birthday today. Cool. Completely not realizing, what the his probably actual birthday they would say would be in June, because that's when Sonic 1 launched. But yeah. I always thought, oh, it's Sonic's birthday, Thanksgiving, cool. American Thanksgiving specifically.
And you know what? He also died to Mephiles, who's basically a walking spirit of Halloween store mascot. So, hey, the entire life of Sonic is summed up in the holidays.
There we go. There we go. And he starts with 3 lives. All right, here we go. Without a Plan has a question. With Sonic Prime coming out, we know a multiverse exists. Would you explore it in IDW if given the chance? Has Sega put any word down on whether or not such a thing is allowed in IDW?
Well, we knew there was a multiverse already because of Blaze's Dimension.
Yeah.
And it's kind of furthered with the Classic being its own weird dimensional time offshoot. Prime is something different, but I can't talk about it. So I don't think we're going to be seeing it in IDW.
All right, here's a super chat from PC the Unicorn. Thoughts on Knuckles and Rouge? Could it work long term?
Maybe. They're kind of fun in that odd couple, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they hate each other but love each other type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they were a long-term thing and we're talking like the characters actually can grow and change over time, I could see them as a long-term, long-distance relationship that they, hook up every so often and it's like, oh yeah, I missed you. And then a couple weeks pass and it's like, well, time to go our separate ways, keep in touch, and they're good like that.
Time to go back on the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
But not together. Yep, I like it. And here's another one from PC the Unicorn. How chaotic would a family picture involving Eggman, Cubot, Orbot, Metal Sonic, and Bell be?
Utter chaos. Because Eggman doesn't want to do this to begin with. Bell really wants this to happen just this one time. Orbot's trying to be the one to get things to work. Cubot really wants to help. Everybody's getting in each other's way. Everybody's stepping on each other. Something blows up. And Metal Sonic is standing stock still in the center of the entire thing.
Of course. Of course. And here's a question from PC the Unicorn. Again. Could Fluttershy understand Chow and Wisps since her special talent is talking to animals?
Yep, absolutely.
Nice. And here's a question from Hedgewolf23. Is Infinite dead?
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
And here's a question from Kitari Station or Kitar Station. I'm not 100% sure. Let me know if either one of those was correct or none of them. Ian, if you could create a universe where Sonic is the prince from the Soul Dimension and Blaze being a hero from Sonic's world, how would it look like? See, this was kind of my thinking of like, what if Blaze were the main character of the franchise instead of Sonic.
Yeah.
It's like, what if we were in the same alternate universe as Blaze's universe?
I mean, there comes the question of, are their personalities based more on nature or nurture? Because part of the reason why Blaze is so restrained and measured is because of her powers, which are, according to some of the canon, derived from the solar molds. So if she was not tied to those, would she even have her fire powers?
Hmm.
I mean, in that regard, would she just be a regular mortal individual?
Hmm.
So much as a animal character is.
Well, I mean, they'd probably come up with some other excuse for her to have fire powers.
Well, I mean, where does Sonic's powers derive some from? So let's say, just for the sake of comparison, she has basically her moveset just without the fire motif. Um, and say that the restrained nature was from her station, but she's still a dutiful person, that she's still a responsible person. I could see her being a very good mentor to Tails and a excellent inspiration to Amy. And maybe not quite so high strung initially, shall we say, but still fairly measured and just generally heroic.
Yeah.
Whereas Sonic would have these fire powers, and being so casual in nature, it would be one of those things where it seems like he's being flippant with all this firepower that he's throwing around, and running off to go on an adventure when he really should be back at the palace signing that peace treaty. Prince, please, you have a schedule. There was an itinerary. Sonic, come back. But then when things get serious, then you realize, oh no, he was holding back this whole time. You want to see firepower? He'll show you firepower. Oh god. So that would be, I guess that's how I would approach the Elseworld. There's another what if scenario for you.
Sure. Yeah. Alrighty.
Real
And
quick.
go ahead. I was gonna say, do you want to take a break?
Well, no, I was gonna say we started a little bit late, but around quarter after 6ish. We're coming up on the 2 hour mark, but I don't want to end on a quarter hour. That's just weird.
Yeah.
So we'll go till 8:30 if that's cool with you.
Alrighty. So another half hour.
Yep, and then we'll cut it off. So
cool.
Let's do.
Awesome. Excellent. We have a super chat demand from Godzilla, and they are demanding pitch a Rouge the Bat miniseries.
Rouge the Bat is
just a super spy.
She's sent by gun to infiltrate some terrorist cell, and there's some kind of gem involved that she wants, but the Babylon rogues steal it, and so she ends up in this cross-continental whirlwind adventure where she has to foil the terrorists, foil the rogues, steal the gem back, and report back before 24 hours is up.
Nice. Sounds good. Do you want to cut off questions now and just stick with what we've got?
Yeah.
Blow through those, or try and blow through as many of those as we can.
Yeah,
all right, so guys.
No more super chats. No more questions. We're good to go from here. We're just gonna plow through the inventory we have at this point.
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. Let me do that. So, all right, guys. Well, here we go. We're gonna blast through some more standard questions for the last half hour. Here's this question from Jetsy Rose. How did you come up with Eclipse? I really miss him and love how you gave him a soft side for his wisps.
Initially, it was going to be a story about Mephiles coming back through timey-wimey, wibbly-bobbly, and resurrecting the Black Arms for revenge against Shadow. And that got shut down because he's super dead. So I really wanted to have some kind of antithesis rival for Shadow. And so it was, okay, well, we're at least allowed to use the Black Arms. And the Black Arms got thoroughly trounced by Shadow, so they would make a countermeasure. Okay, that makes the origin. That's easy enough. Excuse me, easy enough.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do to make a counter to Shadow that isn't just evil Shadow? What do we do to make the dynamic a little more interesting? So what are some key traits about Shadow that we can flip around in a meaningful and interesting way? All right, well, Shadow is a absolute powerhouse. Let's make Eclipse more of a ranged fighter, more of a tactical fighter. He's about teleportation and misdirection and mind games. He isn't someone who's going to be throwing chaos spears and shattering things with his face. Shadow is very stern and stoic and impersonable. So let's make Eclipse very animated and outspoken and charismatic. Shadow is very much a loner. He's someone who doesn't want to make a lot of connections. Eclipse is all about family. He is not part of the hive mind like everything else. He has an identity and he wants Shadow into that fold. They are both, in a sense, children of the Black Arms. Why can't he side with his own people? Don't make me destroy one of my own. And giving him that very sympathetic angle of wanting a family is very relatable and very easy to spin.
Mm-hmm.
And he also wants to eat people's faces, so you don't get too attached to him.
Delicious. Here's a question from Nutty Rabbit. Bizarre question, but have you ever thought about exploring organized crime in the Sonic universe? The implications you brought about with Knack in Champions made me curious.
Here and there, a little bit. Like we did it some with Mogul pre-reboot. We did it with Breezy a little bit post-reboot. Clutch is there in IDW now. The hard thing with organized crime is that it is a messy, complex network of skullduggery,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't always translate to an action book. But now that Evan has laid the groundwork with Clutch and his connections, I feel like that's something that can be built upon. So yeah, I figure we'll be walking down that road at some point.
All right, here's another one from Vlad C. What if Sonic met the Joker?
He'd find him eerily familiar. Just, Eggman has a better taste in clothes
Yeah.
and minions
Mm-hmm.
and cologne. Man, what are you wearing? No, I don't want to smell your flower. And then you kick him once in the face and win.
All right, here's one from Sonic Toast. In Sonic Generations, we learned Eggman abandoned Orbot and Cubot in space at the end of Sonic Colors. How do you think Orbot and Cubot got home? Or did Eggman just rebuild them?
Eggman's outside his base, sun tanning. And then
Of course he
just
is.
in the distance you hear this, and then a couple of meteorites land right there on the egg deck. And they're very scorched and blackened. Orbot and Cubot haven't gone through reentry, kind of just creak open and, hello, boss. We're back. What took you so long? Well, we had to finagle the gravitational pull. I don't care. Get me a soda. Yes, boss. And that's how they got back.
Of course. That's another Sonic Boom plot right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, here's another one from PC the Unicorn. Man, this guy's on a tear. Ian, any chance we could ever have stories akin to 30 years later in the Silver Saga, in which Silver travels to alternate timelines?
That would be super cool with a what if scenario, but Sega does not want to portray the characters as anything other than their current incarnations. So that would be a really hard sell.
Yeah. All right, here's one from Chow Guy 5. What is your favorite Sonic game?
If we're talking classic, Sonic Mania Plus. Sonic 3 and Knuckles was the top for the longest time, but Mania Plus just eked out ahead when it got the DLC expansion. If we're talking 3D, it's either Colors or Generations.
Yeah. 3 and K is still the best classic Sonic game for me, but I could take either one. I'm not picky. And 3D Sonic game, jeez. Be my favorite 3D Sonic game. Yeah, probably Generations. Here's one from Phelps G. Bit of a random question, but does imposter syndrome take place before or after Evan's soon coming out arc of 45 to 49?
That will actually be, that's actually part of the story itself. So you'll just have to wait and see.
Dun, dun, dun. Here's a question from Certified Nobody. I take argument with that. You listen to this show and you enjoy it. You're not a nobody. You're a great person. Is Metal Knuckles off limits for modern stories?
I don't know. Because Metal Sonic is, classic and modern, but I feel like the design we were going with was the more modern interpretation. And with the Metal Knuckles design we got, I feel like that's very, very modern looking compared to a lot of other classic era stuff. So I'm honestly not sure. I hope not. I want to see Metal Knuckles come back, but we'll see. We'll see.
And here's another one from Tony C. What advice can you give to a guy who struggles with his drafts?
Oh, first, my sympathies, my dude. Secondly, don't get too attached to them. And this is me being full hypocrite here because I get way too attached to every draft I do. But I'm trying to tell you how to be better than I am. Whatever you are putting down on your page for a first draft, think of this as your pre-writing. Even if you've done pre-writing, this first draft is your pre-writing. This is going to be thrown away. This is going to be revised, edited, chopped up, burned, spat upon. This is not your finished product. And if you can get into that mentality, it'll take a lot of stress off you for that first draft. And even maybe make it go a little faster because you're not overthinking everything. You're just putting content down on the page that you can build from there.
Nice. All right, here's a question from Marshall H. So while a Transformers crossover in the IDW format would probably use classic versions of the cast, what would be your thought process if you were to use the Beast Wars era instead?
See, because IDW and Transformer crossovers are so ubiquitous, I'm kind of waiting for the email to say, hey, we're doing one with Sonic. And I was thinking how to do. I almost wonder if Beast Wars would be the way to go, just so you can have like Mobian versions of the Transformers. If nothing else, to have a Hedgehog Optimus Prime say transform and roll out.
And roll out, but
or Autobot versions of the Sonic characters. I honestly don't know how much leeway Hasbro and Sega would give us on those.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. Hello, people. I'm doing a dance. Can you see? I'm being entertaining. I'm not doing much of a dance. I'm wiggling my arms like a goofus.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, good. You got any more lightnings and thunderstorms going on over there, or is it clear for now?
Just when I think it clears up, the lights dim a little bit. So we're in the home stretch here.
Maybe okay, all right. We're gonna push as many as we can before either the end or the end. So here's a question from Mike B. Imagine if for like a week or so, Miles Tails Prower is replaced by Niles Crane from the hit 90s sitcom Frasier. Fully human. How would he and Sonic and friends get along?
He would drive Sonic up the frickin' wall.
Yes. And Sonic would drive him up the wall.
Not to be ostentatious, but must we have chili dogs for dinner yet again? There are other things we can have for nourishment. Perhaps something green. No, I'm not going to chew the lawn. Was that a joke? I'm honestly not sure with you anymore. Come back here. I was talking to you and he's off again. I just can't stand it. Honestly, I do believe I'll go room with that Dr. Egg fellow. He at least seems to know proper etiquette.
Oh, Niles.
Yes, Sonic, I have abandoned you because at least Dr. Eggman knows how to have furniture.
I'm broken. But this is amazing. All right, PC the Unicorn has a question. Ian, have you ever tried pitching Sonic stories involving the Sonic world being in different time periods? So akin to Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Spider-Man 1602, etc.
No, just because I know those would be very hard sells. And we're still telling stories in just the regular modern format.
Yeah. No time travel, no Back to the Future with Silver yet. Who knows? Maybe sometime later. And here's one from Sonic Mania 2099 again. Do you think Sega will bring back... Oh, nope. Sorry, this one actually we already answered. This was like very early on. So, never mind. Sorry for getting your hopes up. Sonic Mania, if you had another question in here, it's somewhere below that one. All right. Here's a question from Syed C. Opinion on UK Sonic the Comics number 127 through 130 story. Robotnik gets all the emeralds, becomes God, and warps reality to where Sonic does not exist. Tails is dead, and there's a big rogues gallery fight. Spoilers.
I don't remember reading that one. Jeez.
Yeah, I was gonna say this seems especially dark. I have no idea.
I now, granted, my read through of Sonic the Comic was a long time ago, so I have not committed much of that to memory. But that sounds kind of crazy. But that's the fun of a what if story.
Yeah. And here's a question from Sean G. Might we see Super Shadow make an official appearance in the future?
At some point, sure.
And one from, there's no name on this one, so sorry about that. Will Ian reconsider his stance on writing Shadow so we can have him fight Surge, because avoiding that would be a massive missed opportunity?
I don't know what I've said to imply that he wouldn't. Again, can't really get into who and what Surge is about right now, but there's nothing stopping Shadow from fighting her.
We'll see. And here's one from Damian Busker. Ian, if you had free reign to write a bridge between the Classic and X series, how would you handle the 100-year time gap, and what would happen to the Classic cast? I'm assuming they're talking about Mega Man.
Oh. I'm like,
not Sonic X. Yeah, no. Mega Man
I'm
X.
like, what?
You want to bridge Mega Man? You want to bridge Sonic and Sonic X? Good luck.
I feel like there should be not so much a bridge as a finale to Classic.
Right.
As I mentioned earlier, I have an idea of how I would want to deal with Quint and build a stable time loop into Classic so that Rock still manages to have a happy ending, but we don't get too crazy with the time travel stuff. And then I imagine that there's a long dormancy period where Light has reached the end of his life and has preserved himself as a prototype for what the elves would be. And X is in his capsule going through all of his data checks and testing. And Wily, who has learned that Light has done all these things, decides to find immortality himself in an electronic form and more or less becomes what will be the Maverick virus. And as for Zero, I know a lot of folks are keen on the Cataclysm idea that Zero took out the Classic cast, but I feel like Classic is too happy for that to happen. And this is coming from the guy who put some really dark stuff into Classic. I know. But I feel like having their blood on Zero's hands is just not it doesn't sit well with me. So something needs to happen to keep Zero from doing that, and again, keep him in stasis until he's found by Gemma Company and all that. And then you just have this 100-year gap where the robot masters become obsolete, mechanoids become the new standard, and then Kane finds X, and off we go to the races.
Nice. And here's another one from Syed C. Would you ever be interested in doing a Sonic comic series the way Archie Mega Man was handled? Game adaptation to adaptation with original story arcs in between them?
Well, yes and no. Only because the classic Mega Man up to that point seemed to be dead for the most part. And we had 10 games just in the main line to pull from. So we had a plot line laid out for us. We were just telling the games and then building bridges between and expanding the ideas around them. Sonic is still a very active franchise. The games are still coming out and they're still pioneering new directions whenever they do. So it's very hard to build a cohesive narrative for something that is still growing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's kind of better that you think of the book as its own kind of meta universe that is still influenced by the game universe, to be sure, but Sonic's adventures in the books happen over here, and then he goes has game adventures over there, and then we come back and do some book adventures over here for a few years, and then there's another game adventure over here, without getting too hung up on the interconnectivity of it.
Mm-hmm. And here's a question from Tony C. Would you ever give a shot at rewriting Lyric and Infinite?
Infinite, yes. Lyric, I feel like I have a decent idea on how to completely revamp him in the modern universe. And I've pitched this to a few people. And after they finish laughing, they say, that actually isn't bad, but it would still mean convincing various people to transplant this one boom element in. And I don't think that's ever going to fly. But I am nothing if not stubborn. If I can't have Sally, clearly Lyric is the next best choice, right?
Obviously.
I'm joking. Please, for the love of God, I know somebody's going to take that seriously. I'm joking.
Do not take that out of context and put it in somewhere. And don't. Please don't. Anyway, here's Wolfsbane with a question. You just said the egg bosses were a unit. Wouldn't Clove and Cassia too be able to break off on her own, as she seems to be popular?
Sure. But Cassie and Clove they were kind of conceptualized by Aaliyah as their own dynamic and story, and were then fit into the egg army more so than the egg bosses, who were just there to kind of fill out regions. Like the Grand Battle Cuckoo obviously is a game character, so he's kind of off from that as well. But like Thunderbolt and Abyss and Maw and Tundra, they all have their own smaller stories to be told, but they really kind of work best in the context of the egg army. Cassie and Clove are kind of reliant on that, but I feel like they could be spun out into something more, not necessarily Sonic related, but
sure.
I don't know. They had a little more going on to them than most of the other egg bosses.
Yeah, definitely. And here's a question from Sin Fritz. May we please have more Drogoon content from you and Adam Bryce Thomas?
We are working super duper hard on it. We are retooling things to have it as just a straight up book, no more trickling out pages. Before we can do that, we have to get a lot of things in order to court various possible publishers. And we are working with Matt Herms to make it look really, really good. So it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of revision, but we're inching our way there, and hopefully we will reach a point where we'll have something to show for it. But a project this size is just going to have to take some time, and we'll see how it goes. It'll come out one way or another. We'll see, though.
All right, here's one from Levi C. Does Mighty count as a power or speed type character?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
if there's another heavy hitter there, he can take the speed type. If there's a sprinter there, he'll be the power type.
Sure. Alrighty. Sounds good. Here's a question from Certified Nobody. The Heroes game files and dialogue refer to Tails and Knuckles' shields as super forms. Is that canon to IDW?
Does it? That's the first I've heard of it.
I don't know if that's like unused dialogue and stuff that's in the files. Maybe it's just called Super Tails and Super Knuckles, like the shield forms of them or something. I don't know.
Because the directive I'm working under right now is that hedgehogs are male hedgehogs are the only ones who go super. And I think the last time it was noted, it was specifically just Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. It's dumb. I hate that rule. Kill it with fire.
I ain't fond of it either.
Kill it with fire.
I mean, on the one hand, it does stop everyone from going super, because if everyone can go super, it's not really that special.
And nobody is super.
Yeah. But on the other hand, making that arbitrary distinction is just
it's silly.
It's silly.
Silly. Anyway, here's another one from Tony C. Would the IDW team be interested in motion comics adaptations with the official voice cast?
I know I am. And
I would be. I'm not even on the IDW team, and I'm interested in that.
I've knocked on some doors saying, "Hey, what would it take? What kind of money? Anybody interested?" And from what I've been told, it would not be a sound investment, going off of what people who know about this sort of thing have told me.
Sure.
But I still bring it up every now and again. It's like, hey, you know what? This would be kind of neat if we did this. And by we, I mean you guys, because I have no money or influence or connections, but I can be your idea guy. Hey, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, they'd have to cast the IDW characters though. So,
yeah, well,
interesting.
But hey, if that is something that the fandom would want to see, let IDW know. If there is like an actual quantifiable demand for it, that makes it easier to say, hey, let's find money to do this.
Yes.
And then I will thank you all very much for making it happen.
Yes. It would be a sound and motion investment. I give credit to the chat for that one. That was not me. Here's one from Gracie C. This is probably a dumb question. No such thing. But would you consider writing Lumina and Void from Sonic Shuffle in the IDW comics, or are they off limits or something? I think
we covered it.
We did touch this one, but it was from someone else and it was different. But yeah.
I guess it was like 2 hours ago. So
yeah.
Yes, I would. I have a couple of ideas. I totally want to do a Sonic Knights crossover. Don't know when I'll ever be able to pitch it.
Yeah. And here's one from Shonen Boys. Which portrayal of the blue blur within media, like the comics, the games, TV shows, and movies, portrayed him the best in terms of his character personality?
I mean, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on the project. I mean, the Sad AM incarnation of Sonic was the incarnation for Western media at the time.
Yep.
He was a product of his era, just as movie Sonic was an interpretation for that particular story and for a much larger audience than typically us, those listening to the show. So I think you have to take it in the context of the media it's being presented, and if it is good for it. And even within the games, you have from 99 to now, the structure of Sega and how they want to portray Sonic in gameplay and characterization and themes has evolved over those years. So it's kind of hard to, I don't feel like it's entirely fair to compare today's Sonic to Dreamcast Sonic because they've changed over time. So I'm going to dodge your question by saying that.
I really think this is a tough question. Like, if I were to give my answer, I'd be like, I don't know. I do like I kind of enjoy the meta version of Sonic that we have now. He's, kind of more, I guess, jokey and, willing to kind of break the fourth wall a little bit. I don't know. It's tough to say. Still do love Jaleel White Sonic, though, too. So, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see.
We have hit 8:30.
Oh, yeah, we have. We have, yeah. Okay.
And we're going to let you have the final word for this episode of the BumbleKast, Kyle.
Who, me? Why me?
Because you just wrapped up the last question.
Oh, okay, cool. Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this live broadcast. Thank you for your patience as I scrambled in here a little late. Thank you, Kyle, for managing everything as you always do. Thank you, Jen, for managing the chat and the questions and keeping everything civil and under control. Thank you to our patrons for continuing to support the show and letting us do this monthly now. Thank you to everyone who submitted via super chats. We appreciate the extra support. And thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. And we will see you next time for more BumbleKast.
Yes, we will see you next month. Probably September 25th. Pencil that in. Who knows for sure, but most likely. The last Saturday of every month, we're going to be planning on doing these live streams. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Very much appreciated. And, we'll see you all next time.